Okay, now we're recording. Okay. So one more time. So yeah, my name is Christian. I work as a project manager in Health Life Academy Association. It's an NGO association that works in sports, mainly in sports. We do pretty much everything from commercial tournaments to inclusive projects, voluntary work, scientific researches, you name it. We do it absolutely everything. And we're a partner on this project, and I'm here currently now as a tutor on this particular project. And my objective, my goal is to give you some, let's say, basic insights and basic information about project management in general. So during this live meeting, we'll just quickly pass by the presentations and the mini case studies in which we can a bit discuss. But I really don't want this to be uh, like a closed session in which we talk strictly about the topics and the slides of the presentation. I would really like this to be an open session. We can discuss about maybe some of your situations you had that are related to project management. You're probably all in sports. You're probably all in some kind of organizations doing some work related to sports or to management. So I would like to hear also during this live meeting your stories and some of your experience that you can share that are related to the topic. Okay, so with that being said, I will just share my screen for the first presentation of the module. It's lesson number 1, and I think this is the one. Okay, so basically our journey of project management starts with some kind of general concept of what project management is, what is business planning. Um, it covers like this first presentation covers some basic principles about the project, its correlation with project stakeholders, and like rounding up with of course project main goals. So basically, starting with project management, we have to identify what is a project. uh, Project comes in different sizes and shapes and forms, but usually it's defined like some kind of temporary endeavor, temporary activity that is undertaken or implemented in order to achieve some kind of unique product, service, or result. So the result of a project can be many things. It can be a newly built stadium. It can be some kind of new service you're providing, or it can be a document. You can provide I don't know, a contract. Can be also some version of project. So all of the projects have some similarities, let's call it that way. They're all temporary endeavors, which means they have the beginning and the end. They have like that this uniqueness, the result, the uniqueness of the project. It's one time. No project is the same. So because of the activities and the things that happen on the project, each project is unique and you can never replicate it. You always have some differences from project to project. It's directed towards specific previous defined goal. You have to have a defined goal and objective in order to have the project going in the right direction. And of course, it has its own budget, because finance is as you know, a very important thing nowadays in general economy. Yeah, when we're talking about projects can be either successful, partially successful, or unsuccessful, depending on the reached objectives and goals. So in case your project is going fluently, you reached all your goals, you're in budget, on time, you have, let's say, met some qualitative indicators, or made some quality standards, then you can consider your project successful. In case some of those uh, elements are not met, for instance, your project is successful, you have built a stadium but is 2 months late, we can say that it's partially successful. And in third version, when, let's say, your project is not even finished due to some complications or occurred risk, then the project is unsuccessful. So moving on with the presentation, we talk about the goals. So each project has to have its goal, has to have its meaning, and all project has to have a SMART goal. You probably heard about it. It's the goal has to be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely oriented. Then so when we know about the project management will be the application of all of your knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques in order to meet those project requirements and objectives, in order to implement the project successfully. So this is basically project management. And now we have many things covering here in the presentation. One of the things that we'll cover later are the processes. So while you're implementing your projects, there are many processes that occur or are happening during your implementation. And all of these processes are a lot of times repeating themselves, but they can all be grouped, let's say, in 5 process groups. So as you can see on the slides: initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and control, and closing. So these are like the main process groups in which all the process from the project can be grouped. We'll talk more about the process later. So there are some basic principles of project management. I will not be analyzing each of any one of them. There are 12 of them according to the Project Management Institute guidelines and books. This is the literature I'm using for more than 10 years. This is like a Bible for me when we talk about project management. So these principles help you distinguish and manage your projects, let's say, in a right way. So we have since we have you have many requirements and factors that you need to take into consideration when you manage a project, especially when you have complex projects, when you have many stakeholders who are part of your project. You need to manage that. In order to manage it successfully, these are some of the principles that you should follow in order to have it successful. So there are a lot of it. Stewardship team. Stewardship is supervision. It's more simplified supervision. Then you have to know how to manage teams, how to engage with stakeholders. You have to know the value of the project to implement the project in the right way. You have to have the system thinking to project some of the things that may happen in the future, so you can anticipate them and act correctly. Then you have leadership, because each project is led by a leader and managed by a team or team of a project team. So you need to have leadership in order to have all the team members in line with the project. Then you have tailoring. You have to tailor your projects according to the specific goals and objectives you want to achieve. So in case we're talking about, I don't know, a specific engineering project, you'll tailor your project plan in a way that meets the objectives of the engineering topic. You have to meet the quality. You have to take care of the complexity of the project. Some projects are very simple, so you don't need to take measures. Some measures that you probably take into consideration for a complex project. You will not be analyzing risks and measuring risk for a simple project of, I don't know, small meeting or something. Then you have to take into consideration potential risks. You have to be able to adapt to unforeseen circumstances. We'll talk about more in the mini case study. And you have to be always ready for changes, because changes in the project happened. And from my experience and opinion, managers and staff who are ready to react to everlasting changes and adapt to those circumstances for me are considered successful managers. So you can always plan something in detail, but you cannot plan everything. So you have to be ready to adapt. So now this is all covering all these principles. And then we finish off the first lesson with stakeholders. Stakeholders are very important because they are the ones who are to who you reach out, who are your target groups and who are your beneficiaries on the project. Those are all stakeholders. From one side you have target groups. So let's say if you're organizing a tournament. Your stakeholders are maybe hotels, maybe venue holders, I don't know, transportation partners, or etc. And from the other side, stakeholders can also be beneficiaries, the one who benefit from your project, like, I don't know, children who are attending your tournament or event, parents who are um, supporting them, educators who are uh, taking your class or some workshops, etc. So these are all stakeholders, and it's very important to have communication and collaboration with them throughout the project. So yeah, this is now going more talking about stakeholders, internal, external. Internals are the one who are directly connected to your team, to your group, and externals are the ones who are benefiting from your projects, like end users, customers, etc. So this is basically the first lesson, and I don't know if you have the chance to check the mini case studies. I know you probably all of you have work to do, you have your own job, so it's not a problem if you didn't have the time and chance to check the mini case studies. So I will just briefly share the another screen with the mini case, and then we can just have a quick discussion about this particular case that resonates on this lesson. Let me just check and share the screen again. So where are you? It will be probably, oh, just 1 second. No, it's a presentation. No. Key knowledge. Where are you? Okay, here we are. All right. So this is the mini case study. I will read it out loud. So we have like a stakeholders issue in a sport event. So there's a local community or sport council that has a task to organize a sport tournament in the city and bringing together athletes from different backgrounds of sports. Like here is mentioned soccer, basketball, and volleyball. It takes period over 2 weeks, which is a long period for a tournament. So the project team is consistent of several team members, like coaches, volunteers, etc., and they're responsible for the whole implementation of the project, starting from the plan, preparation, engaging with stakeholders, to the overall implementation of the event itself and controlling. However, when they planned the tournament, an issue occurred. They have probably stakeholders who are not only supporting them with their initiative, but probably supporting them financially, which is very important when we talked about the budget. And one of the stakeholders, who is a local business owner, raised concerns about the tournament because it impacts negatively their business. It is, let's call it a shoe store factory who is located near the venue, and due to the tournament being held there, he has issues with his local business in the terms of traffic congestion and parking issues. So he has like problems, and despite all the efforts that they have to address and to resolve this issue and concern, they even have like the threat and the risk of stopping the tournament because he is one of the key stakeholders and he can maybe withdrawn from the event itself. So in the end, they eventually figure out and let's say have met an agreement regarding this issue, and in the end project was implemented successfully. So this is like basically a story. So I will now like to open the discussion just quickly. We'll just cover it like in a couple of minutes. What will be your opinion about this case in general? Just your thoughts, and maybe how do you think they resolve this issue? How do you think maybe they can resolve it, taking into consideration that it is very near the beginning of the event? Yeah, and if you have any questions regarding this lesson, now is the time to shoot. So now I leave the floor to you, but please don't be afraid to share any comments, any opinions. This is a really open discussion. There are no wrong answers, so please join me in this monologue. Okay.
Oh, okay, I can take the ball.
Yeah.
We can say this way.
Yeah.
No, honestly, this is a situation that is really common, I think, in sports management because I see and I heard about this kind of situation many times, especially because the stakeholders are the key elements of a project. I mean, if you are able to involve the stakeholders with the right way the project is going on, and of course you are going to have really positive results. Here, I think that the main issue was the fact that maybe there wasn't at the beginning a clear plan for the stakeholder. I mean, and there wasn't a preparatory, we can say, work, no, for the stakeholder talking about which were the positive benefits or negative things. So this fact for me influenced at the beginning the situation. Then they reach an agreement because maybe they understood that the stakeholder needs were the focus, the most important things for completing the project. This is something that I also lived because when you were talking before about personal situation, I lived here in Milan because I was trying also to create a project here. I was part of another project, not a UACA, but a project connected with basketball and of the Federation, International Federation of Basketball. And basically, we had to create some plans, some projects using basketball as a tool to reach SDGs.
Oh,
And for doing this, of course, you must be able to find stakeholder because you as a single individual, especially in Italy, and Valeria could confirm this. If you are the only person talking about, of course, one project, you are not going to be considered so true. Here in Italy, we have this rule that financial things and these kind of aids were going to be given not to the personal, to the physical person, but to the organization.
yes.
So if you are like me, a young leader, as I was, it was kind of difficult because I needed to go to the stakeholders and try to understand what were their needs about the situation.
Yes.
If I find a situation in which maybe basketball in my zone of Milan is not so much important as a topic. Of course, you must be able to redefine your initial plan, as I did, because luckily I found a sports organization, a basketball organization that was creating their own events and was interested in what I was doing.
Wow, great. So in the end, it resolved good. So it was everything okay.
I needed but to adjust my own vision to the stakeholders' needs, and
Yes.
of course, I must have done this because without that, of
Yeah.
course, I wouldn't have done this project, and maybe some publication of the FIBA website were not being present.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Great. Thank you, Domenico, for your story. I will just briefly add to your situation. It is good that you realize the issue early in the early stages. You have to keep in mind at the beginning of the project, the risks are high, but the costs of repairing those risks are low. So in case in the beginning you can still save yourself and because you're risking little because you didn't start it. But once the project starts going and is as far away as you go, the changes are much more cost effective. So it's gonna be you can imagine yourself already maybe I don't know booking everything for the event and
Yeah, yeah.
having everything ready, and then you realize that it's not going to happen. That's like a huge problem.
No. Of course, I was in this situation, and luckily, what has happened was the fact that the deadline for presenting the project, because it was kind of an education, no, leadership module, and this kind of thing, and we had to present our project until March, the 31 of March, and I
No.
was trying to find the key stakeholders until February, maybe we can say,
Okay, that's okay.
because the municipality here in Italy, it works in this way. You are going to ask for an appointment to go there to talk, but of course they have much more important things to do.
Yeah.
And this is what happened. And so at the middle of March, I realized that maybe after I finally had this meeting in which they said to me, no, your idea is not going anywhere. They suggest me to go to another association, and luckily was the organization in which I started playing basketball, so I know them very well.
Yeah.
Luckily, I solved the situation, but
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Domenico, for this. For your experience. Others, do you have any comments on any your situations regarding this issue with stakeholders or similar? If not, you can just nod. You can just okay. Then maybe I can share one of mine. So I was also preparing like a proposal, or I was organizing a project, and it's something that happened like when I was in college days. So I was figuring out partners and stakeholders for my project, and there was one partner that I was already collaborating with, and I was certain that he will be joining the project and the initiative for sure. I didn't even ask him, but as the the project was going, and then it was his turn to take part and contribute to the project, he just told me, hey man, I was not informed. I know you were counting on me, but we didn't discuss it, we didn't communicate it, and I cannot help you. So you can imagine, on half of the project, it was regarding a drone construction. So I was constructing a drone for some kind of video analysis or something, and then the guy who was helping me videotape it and make the video and everything, told me that he has no time and asked me to find someone else. So it was a problem. In the end, I managed, but I had to reach out for somebody else. I have to, it was more cost on the budget. So yeah, there were some issues. In the end, it was okay because it was a small project, but the issue still remains. If you don't communicate it well, you're going to have issues. So yeah, my suggestion is communicate it, and if necessary, even have it on paper, because paper, say, suffers everything, so you can write everything on. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this is pretty much the lesson number one, talking about the general concept and the stakeholders. Now I will go to the lesson number two. Lesson number two, we continue from project management to we go more inside of the project itself, and we're talking about a project lifecycle. Let me just go find the presentation. Nope. No, I have like 17 of this. Come on, is it this one? Yep, it's this one. Can you see the second presentation? Okay, then I will just run through it quickly as well, because we're more focused on the mini case studies than the presentation. So every project has its life cycle from the beginning to the end. It's important to realize that for each phase of the project, there are some let's say common things that happen during the project life cycle. So the project lifecycle is just a series of phases that interconnect with one another and makes your project full. Let's call it simplified that way. So we have the starting of the project, we have phase of organization and preparation, then the main part, carrying out the work, and closing the project after it's finished. So here we have the report, the dissemination activities, etc. In my opinion, the basis of the project lifecycle is in the beginning. How you start the project is how you're going to finish it. So if you plan it correctly, if you have a project plan that is very in detail and sufficient according to your needs and objectives, you'll have a great project. And if you stick to the plan, you're going to be okay. So in the starting of the project, the most important thing is the plan. So plan generally has inside everything from objectives, goals, needs analysis, specific tasks and responsibilities of each partner, target groups, ways of managing the project, how are you going to manage your team, what are the potential risks, your financial budget, everything should be inside. Now, of course, depending on the project's complexity, you can have a smaller plan, you can have a more complex plan. So it all depends on what do you think as a project manager doing the project is necessary for your successful implementation. When you do the plan, then you have to start implementing those activities. Organizing and preparing is mostly related to all the contracts, the logistics, the preparation of materials, everything is inside. Then you have carrying out the work. Carrying out the work is the activity itself. It can be a tournament, it can be a symposium, it can be, as I said, building a stadium. It can be anything. And after it, we have the closing, which is important because once you finish your project activities, it's important to document them, especially when you apply for grants and for some proposal who are financing your ideas and project. They will ask you to report to them to share where did you spend your budget, how did you do it, what are the measures and indicatives of the successfulness of the project, etc. In short terms, they will just ask you, did you finish it on time, did you have enough budget, or was there finance enough or sufficient, and did you follow the budget plan, and does the project meet the quality standards that you talked about in the beginning that you planned. So if you're talking about Nike shoes, we cannot finish up with some random shoes. We have to have a quality standard. Yeah, the catch about the project lifecycle is that there is no strict end of one phase and the beginning of the other. It's like a little bit interconnected. When you even though you're not finishing with the plan, for instance, you're already starting preparing something else. And while you're finishing with the preparing of some materials, you're already implementing other activities which are in the next phase. And so it's very important to have the skills to multitask and to manage multiple activities at the same time. So as I said before, when you go how the life cycle affects costs and risks, as I said before, in the beginning the risks are high, but the costs of those risks are low. And when you as far as you go with the project, the risk become low because you're already doing it. It's already been done, and if it's done in the right way, you're already doing a good job. But in case something happens, your cost of changes will be significant in that case. Okay, so now when you have the project management structure, in the project management lifecycle, you will need to appoint a right structure or function of organization in order to apply your project. So there are, let's say, three basic organizational structures. You have the functional, which is the basic one when you have the hierarchy, the boss and the co-workers, in which you have the exact, which not everyone is at the same level of let's say of decision making, let's call it that way. Then you have the project oriented structure. This is my favorite because in project oriented structure is you have a clear project team that is working on the project. Everybody has the same let's say value in the team, and the decisions are made together. Even though you have a leader in the project, the decision making in the project oriented structures are democracy, done by democracy. So in case a leader doesn't the leader doesn't have to be right or have its opinion in order to be implemented. He doesn't have his vote is the same, in short. And then you have the matrix structure. This structure like combines the first two. So you have, let's say, for instance, Domenico is working for his company, but he's also appointed as a project member on some project which is not not part of his regular activities and jobs. So let's say you're working as a salesman for one company, but you're organizing a tournament for that company. So you're doing two jobs simultaneously, and in that case, that is the most frequent, I would think, structure. But it has its advantages and disadvantages. So it's something that you need to consider. But in conclusion, there are no right organizational structure. It depends on the project. If the project requires project-oriented structure, which is most common, then you will do that one. If it's a more simpler project, maybe functional structure would be more convenient for your project, etc. Okay, so here is now the schemes of the pictures of how it's structured, but I already covered that. Advantages, disadvantages, yada yada, and then we go to and that's pretty much basic of the lesson number 2. So we go from project management to the project lifecycle, and then according to the specific project lifecycle, we appoint specific organizational structure. And then now I will stop sharing this one. I will go to the mini case study of the second one. I'll close this, and I will close. Let me just check. Close this one as well, and this one close as well. Okay, let me just now share again screen. No. This is the project management process. This is the third one. Just give me a second. Okay, this one. Okay, so we have again a situation. Let me just. Okay. So, in this particular scenario, we have a local football club that decided to renovate its sports stadium. Let's call it the local football club Barcelona, which is now renovating the Camp Nou. So it involves some kind of updating in facilities, structure, and etc. And then we have the project team. You have the project team, so a project-oriented structure. So we have a project team consisting of a project manager, some architects, engineers, and construction workers. Oh, this is going to be fun. And they're responsible for managing the project through its, all the phases from planning to the closeout. However, project team had encountered several challenges in organizing and preparing phase of the project. So the planning phase took longer than expected, and there were delays, as usual in construction workings, in acquiring permits and approvals from local authorities, leading to compressed design phase with mistakes and omissions in the initial design plan. So everything was compressed in the planning in the preparation phase, because the planning phase took longer than expected. So they had there was as I said, interconnection between the phases. Also, the lack of communication along team members cause even conflicts and delays during execution, resulting in cost overruns and schedule delays, etc., etc. So, in that regard, the project team had to restructure its project management organization. So they had to put up the new effective communication plan and generally improve their their plan from the monitoring and controlling mechanisms. In the end, despite those obstacles, they renovated the stadium and they delivered the modern stadium, which is now Spotify Camp Nou in the future. So, okay, here I would like to like put emphasis on the team, the construction of the team itself, because and the plan, because as you see, the planning phase took longer than expected due to delays in acquiring permits. So acquiring permits and approvals and documents, this is a passive part of the project where you have to wait, and in the planning part, you need to take this into consideration. You need to know these things, and you need to anticipate these things in when you're planning. That's why I said the planning part for me is the most important thing. And so now again, I asked you to join me in the discussion and tell me your thoughts about this particular issue. What do you think was the main issue that caused like the delays in project? How do you think that the project eventually, is the project even completed successfully? So here it says successfully completed project, but I don't think so. In case, since they were having probably delays, that's not in line with costs. It's not line with time. So probably this project is partially successful. But I will leave now the microphone to you to tell me what do you think about this particular case. It's a free discussion. You can freely add your comments. Valeria, what do you think? Or yeah, it's like it's okay. I will no. Okay, while we're waiting for Valeria to unmute herself, Ulrika, did I say it correctly? Okay, do you have some comments? Yeah, firstly, Ulrika, can you just briefly give like 2 sentences about yourself? What do you do?
I'm a track and field coach for children between 6 and 11 years old.
Okay.
And funnily enough, I was about to join, like get another course so that I could train children from 11 to 14. But due to organization problems, there is no course now. So
same here with me. I know how that feels, because I was trying to apply for UEFA B license for football coach, but due to some regulations and complying with national laws, it was canceled for this year, so I have to wait for another year. So
so the coaching, that's just like a hobby. Then I'm a speech language therapist during the day.
Oh, great. That's nice. Yeah, what do you think about this particular case, Ulrika?
Comments on this one? I just started to think about a local football team, and I'm afraid that this will happen like in the upcoming year because the local football team just advanced from the lower league to the highest league. And now the problem is that the stadium that we now have isn't enough. So now the questions are, will they build another one? Will they not? And all this. So I'm afraid that this will happen right now, actually.
To be honest, from my opinion, I have now reconstruction. I'm now having these construction workers at my house because I'm renovating something, and it's never on time. So be prepared if you have ever if you ever partner up with construction workers, it's a dead end. So your project will be delayed for sure. But okay, sorry.
But yeah, I think one of the problems here in the team, there's the project manager, architects, engineers, construction workers. All of those are really important and need to be there. But I also see that it can be challenging to maybe work as a team in the beginning, That maybe some things has to be like addressed first and be decided first, and then go on to the next stage.
Yeah, I can add to that. Like my first impression was this team is okay, but I think having a person or from the football club itself would be beneficial for the team. That's for one. And for the second thing is knowing these other members like architects, engineers, and construction workers. They're not used to work in a team. You have to take that into consideration. This is something like probably new to them, and you have to be very precise and very organized when working with them in order for them to have let's say activities and tasks very simplified and very concrete for them. So it has to be very detailed in order for them to follow it. In case you are not updating them regularly, if you're not communicating with them regularly, and if you didn't present them the plan correctly in details, you will probably get into trouble. But this is more now emphasis on them, but it happens on all projects if you don't do that. So yeah, of course. What do you think about the successfulness of the project? So as from my opinion, the planning phase took longer. There were delays and with the permits, and it resulted in cost overruns and schedule delays. So from my opinion, this is not a successful project. It's partially successful.
If I can say something, yeah, for me, this fact, that you said before, to having different specialities, project manager, architects, engineer, construction, everyone that is own particular feature, because they work in a particular part, maybe of the organization structure or the stadium. And maybe they are also not able, we can say, to work on the same particular aspect of the project. That can be, for example, something connected to a particular, I don't know, the gradinata or the stands of the stadium that must be have done in a particular way. I know because I am from Milan, of course. We are talking about San Siro, the same situation.
Yeah.
So this is something that for me must have been worked also in another way. During this course, we studied, for example, the importance of a tool that is Trello. Trello permits, of course, to be updated to the others, and maybe organizing also some small groups or some small meetings that can be face to face to that person, maybe by the project manager, of course, maybe could have helped to be shorter in the planning phase.
Great. This is very important, and this is very good. You say it very correctly. When you mentioned Trello, later on we will talk that this is the last lesson about the processes, because you can imagine this is like a big project. So you have a manager. This is just the team, and then let's say when they have a decision about something, the architect needs to communicate this with his employers and his company, and then the engine has to be in line with the engineers. It has to be with construction workers. Then you have construction workers working on like 50 or 60 or hundreds of them. Everything that all of them are part of the project, and you have these processes that will occur in communication in managing those all these small tiny details. It's a very important thing.
And they are the important things also for the municipalities and the rules of safeguarding all the things. Because from the great communication and from we can say a step-by-step project in which everyone is integrated or can have a briefly detail about what is going to happen. Of course, maybe also the times of waiting from municipality will be less.
Yeah. Also, yeah. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I would suggest now to go to lesson number 3. We'll just go through it, and then I think we will finish before the 5:30, because no need to keep you longer than to stick to the time, because no need. Okay, so moving on to the last one. Let me just 1 second to close this. This is okay. Nope. This is nope. This is okay. I think now we're ready. I think this is yeah. Okay, let me just go. Okay, so let me go to the beginning. So we talked about project in general. Then we went deeper inside to project life cycle and the structure itself. Now, during these life cycles, it happens like a lot of activities. A lot of them are happening more than once. Some of them happen just once, and we call them processes. We call them processes, and all this. Let me just. Yeah. Okay. We call them processes. Processes are like series of these activities from which are carried out in order to achieve one or more outputs of the project. I'll explain it a little bit more on the example afterwards. Usually, so you have like an input. This is like a general description. You have an input, so some kind of let's say decision that you're going to do something. Then you have the tools with which you will do it, the activity, and then you produce some kind of output. This is a process. On the example of let's say, I don't know, holding a meeting, you have the input will be your decision to organize the meeting with, I don't know, the Zoom platform as a tool, and your techniques and your gathering on a meeting. You'll practically do the activity, and the output will probably be some kind of follow-up report and decisions that you made during the meeting. That will be like the process. And on this particular case of the meeting, this is a process that is happening like hundreds of times during a project. You have meetings, you have some things you want to discuss, you have a decision, and then you have with the decision this is your output for something else. The important thing about the processes that they are very connected. So one end of one process is the beginning of another process. Let's say you have made a decision on the meeting about something, and then this decision is your input for the next activity you're going to do, and the next one, and they're just, it's like a spider web. It's all connected. When we talk about, let's say, project management processes, we can distinguish it by areas. Like you have processes of production, sales processes, distribution processes, marketing processes, customer service, and of course project management processes. Everything is, so all the processes that are let's say put in the projects are because of that. Because you want to balance and between all those three segments you want to accomplish. So to be on time, to meet the quality standards, and to meet the financial standards, and of course to meet the objectives in general. No matter of the complexity of the project, all processes can be summarized, let's say, in process groups. So we have the initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and control, and closing. All processes can be, let's say, put in one of these groups. And it's important to say that even though you are doing some of the process in one group, you can always come back to the process of a previous process group, etc. To be more let's say more clear, I will later on cover the knowledge areas, and I will provide more examples on the knowledge areas with the process. So as I said, all the processes are interacting with one another. So you have some processes that you're doing in initiation, and they are happening during the initiation, but they can also happen during the other phase of the project. Same goes for the planning process group. Let's say you're planning a project and you have like some risks and you have some things that happen to you, then you need to go back to that process and plan that part again in order to meet this other to resolve this issue that occurred to you in, let's say, the preparation. So let's say you're preparing something and then you didn't take into consideration, I don't know, one segment, and then you have to go back to the planning phase in order to plan it, and this process continues and repeats itself until you move forward. Yeah, so all these processes are important to you, and when we talk about these processes and the groups of processes, all these processes are, let's say, related to your, let's call it, key areas of expertise. So each project management has to let's have you must possess as a project manager, let's call it that way, to manage your project effectively. So you have to have some knowledge areas include integration management, scope management, schedule management, cost, quality, resource communication, risk, procurement, and stakeholders. So all, let's call it, these areas of expertise are something you need to be aware of and need to know about to be a successful manager. So, and all these areas are implemented through those processes. So let's take, like, now here are some examples of activities and processes that are under these key areas. Let's take risk or schedule, for example. So project management, schedule management is the area of expertise of project management that involves processes and activities to manage the project in a timely manner. So if you want to complete the project in time, you need to possess expertise in doing that. And activities that are usually part of those areas is planning, schedule management, defining activities, estimating activity schedule, controlling schedule, etc. So these are some activities of that area. If we go forward to, let's say, the cost management, experienced project manager have are very well known with activities related to budgeting and cost, so they plan their cost effectively. So the cost management is very good. They're estimating costs very experiently. They know how much will something cost for their project. They're very experienced in that, and they know how to determine a budget and, of course, control those costs in later parts of the project. My personal favorite, because my master thesis was on risk management. Risk management area is also very important because with process related to risk management, you can easily minimize the potential problems of your project. You will never neutralize them completely because something can always happen. Believe me, it can happen. But with some activities and process that you implement in the project, you can very easily minimize them and make them insignificant, let's call it that way. So you have to plan your risk, you have to do the evaluation and identify your risk. So I was in my project, I had to identify risk on a concrete project and evaluate them, assess them, and then figure out a response in case they happen. So this is like a very thorough analysis of the risk. And of course, you have to monitor those risks during the implementation. So yeah, now we can go on and on about these different areas of project management. So, but I would like to skip that because this is something that you can read outside this live meeting. I would like to go to the last mini case study, and with that we will conclude this live lesson. Of course, I will leave you the floor if you have any questions, but you can always ask me questions on email after the live meeting as well. So you can reach me anytime. Okay, let's go for the mini case study. you always have some fun things happening. Okay, this is my favorite. So since I'm organizing the football tournament, this is something that can very easily happen to you. So we have a community in a small town that's organizing a small tournament from small children, aged 9 to 13, and they have like some brackets rules, 16 teams, international, national. The project is just 2 days, which is more realistic than the first one, 2 weeks. So the tournament was initially planned for the weekend days, and so the key issue arose during the planning phase when the selection of the tournament venue was a topic. Initially, they have planned to use local football fields for the tournament, but after further investigation and probably when they were preparing something, they discovered that this field is usually booked for weekends for regular matches and activities of a local football club. So they play in regional league, and you don't have the option of using that field for your tournament. So and this was the main issue, but luckily a football field from another club was not far away, and it was free to use. So but the issue remains the same. You have the football field that was firstly in the walking distance. Now the second field is not in the walking distance, so you have to organize some kind of transportation or something in order to make your project successful, in order to implement the tournament. But in the end, the project was successful and the tournament was held at the planned date. However, the budget was slightly breached even after reallocation of the budget. So in short terms, the tournament was supposed to be held in one place near the hotel. Due to some unforeseen circumstances, they had to move the venue to another venue. This venue was a bit distant. It requires costs of transportation and transfers, which is also an important item for finance. And in the end, the project was held on time. But it didn't. It was not successful completely because it breached the budget. And yeah, this is the situation. I now again that for the third time and last time, I leave the floor to you to tell me your opinions and your thoughts about this issue, and how would you what do you think are some kind of key management areas that should have been done better in order for this thing not to happen? So yeah. Yeah. Well, Valerio, you're just out of luck today. I'm sorry. Yeah. From my opinion, as a football coach and an organizer of football tournaments, yeah, for an unexperienced project manager, this is something that can very easily happen because you're organizing a tournament. There are a lot of venues of football that football clubs use that are not from the football club. It's a lack of public field, and they just use it. So in case, it's very easy to be left out without the information that there is something going to happen during that time. So it can happen. Also, it can happen that regional league have, especially regional league, have the possibility of postponing matches and changing home and away games. So this is a realistic scenario. But how would you tackle this? How would you
Honestly, I think that this is, I want to say that this is a common issue also talking about basketball. I am a basketball coach from 9 to 10, so I also lived this situation. Now, talking about availability of the gym or not, if someone else is playing or not. So it has happened also to me. Now, for me, the area of management here that it didn't work was at the beginning the risk management area, because the risk management must be evaluating much more the potential risks that this activity could have, because of course talking about football, if we are organizing a tournament in such area that might be a smaller area, and there are some, I don't know, 5 football pitches, and 4 are basically having their own team, maybe it will remain only one. Talking about the strategical vision of the situation. So I think that here everything was planned, of course, putting so much energy and so much effort, maybe also on communication, on the outcome, no, of the sports project, but wasn't made a decision before to see what we have available or not, and if we have this speech, how we can face maybe this cost to help the newcomers to arrive to the pitch, how we can try not to let and in this case I think the duty is on the organization to let there to pay for the transportation, not on the teams, because it was a fault of the organization before. This is something that I consider about this. So for me, the basic thing was okay, we're going to organize this event, we want these people with us, but how we are doing this, how we can do it, is possible, not is not possible, how we can cope about that. So for me, there wasn't this kind of general thinking about how to do it and how to analyze possible risk. So maybe the basic the basic questions that are for me, in my experience, the base for going on the project, why, what, how. So maybe this is something that I have because I also wrote many articles. So as a journalist, I have this this mindset. I don't know here. I think this thing was made not with the right time, not with I can say maybe in a bit hurry. This is my impression about the.
But when yes, I agree with you, but and I would add also the area of maybe scheduling management, because
sure.
If you have like 16 teams and you have like 2-day tournament, maybe there was also chance to to maneuver a bit around the activities on that first day and maybe reschedule. But then we're talking about the planning process coming back, and then we talk about rewriting, revising, reviewing the initial schedule. And now you have, when you have like some kind of activity which was added, which booked some, let's say, part of your first day, then you can maybe think about again the process of planning the schedule with that particular activity inside. So maybe you can go around it, and maybe there was even no need for finding or searching for some kind of alternative venue. But this is just, we're talking hypothetically here, and it's not
and then of course from these mistakes, then there was a mistake of the communication team management that communicated the wrong pitch to to everyone.
Because if just for you to have like in mind that you are not only transferring players and teams to the other pitch, you're transferring the logistics over there as well. So
yeah, sure.
you can imagine if you have like, I don't know, tents and I don't know, tables for, I don't know, for resting, you have to transfer it all to the other pitch. So it's like not so easy, yeah. But okay. Yes, thank you, Domenico. Ulrika, Valeria, do you have any comments on this as well? Valeria, sorry, but you can write me an email or I don't know, afterwards if you have any questions or thoughts about these topics. Ulrika, do you have any comments?
And not really. I think that Domenico covered it really well.
Yeah.
My first thought was that why is there not like a working booking calendar or something, that it would be really easy to check that, okay, yeah, it's booked that day.
Yeah.
So that would solve the problem immediately. Then you could easily see that, okay, yeah, we cannot organize it on those days. But then again, even if you have like a working booking calendar, these things can happen.
Yeah, these things.
So
and that's why I say for me the successful project manager is the one who can, you know, react to this and to come up with a realistic and reasonable solution, and you know, to resolve this issue in a way that the project goes on and still is successful. That's like a very good thing for a project manager if you can do that. Yeah, this is like the end of my live lesson. I just, if you have any questions, you can ask me now. You can even send me an email after the meeting. And yeah, do you have any questions? Okay, then guys, thank you for your time. Thank you for talking with me, because it was very nice for me to have like a team that talks, not only listens. It was very fun for me. I hope it was very fun for you too, and I hope that you can implement some of these, let's say, insights into your activities, and to have a very, you know, fruitful and beneficial projects and very successful projects, and that some of this information might help you in your work as well. So yes, yeah, thank you guys. I'll be seeing you around. I wish you all the best in the next meetings and next modules of this AU Aqua project. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, you too, Vala.
Well, grazie.
bye.
Grazie. Thank you. See you. Bye bye.
Bye.